What's up, YouTube? Today, I'm going to show you how to turn this into this. I'm going to get started right in here baking some bread, and I'll tell you the story of why I started baking bread while I'm doing it, so I don't bore you too much, but I suggest getting scales if you're going to bake your own bread. It's so much more accurate, and accuracy is pretty important. Scales are going to help you a lot with that. Weigh any material any ingredient that you put in there, and you'll have much better results. So I'm going to make a 2-pound loaf, and that calls for 320 grams of filtered water, room temperature. That one's got 11666. Nice. Up 300. What was I looking for? 320? 320. I got 331. $319. 320.02. That's close enough for me, man. And they're gonna go right in here. Make sure that your paddle is in there. Man, I put all the ingredients in there and forgot to put the paddle in. It's gross. You gotta reach in there and then you get stuff all stuck to you. Just remember to put the paddle in there, it's much easier. So, my girlfriend and I, we bought this loaf of bread at the supermarket, and we had it in the pantry for like a month and a half. Forgot about it. It was buried behind stuff. And holy smokes, when we pulled that out, it was fresh as the day it was baked. And no mold, no nothing. While I appreciate my bread lasting forever, it kind of turned me off. I don't know if it's the plastic they use, maybe it's the packaging, but it really turned me off. So I decided I was going to start making my own bread, and screw them, I don't need it. Anyway, the next ingredient, you always do your liquids first, and if you buy a bread maker brand new, it'll come with a cookbook, and they're all in order of operation, so it makes it pretty easy. If you use bread flour, it calls for whole milk powder. It might do something nice for your bread, but when I tried it, I did not like the way my bread turned out, and so I tried a loaf without it. I leave the whole milk powder out, and I still use the bread flour, and man, I love the bread. It's delicious. So I'm going to leave that out. Oh, it wants me to do the sugar next. I'm going to get a dry one, and 1 tablespoon of sugar or granulated sugar or honey. I haven't noticed a huge flavor difference when I use honey instead of sugar, so I just use sugar because it's cheaper. I know it's probably not as healthy for me, but in it goes anyway. It's already healthier than all the chemicals and crap that they put in that bread. Alright, so next, we did the sugar. Next is salt. We need 1 1/4 teaspoons. I don't bother buying iodized. Up to you, I guess. We eat some fish and stuff. I don't really feel the need for it. So, here we go. 1. 1/4. And I haven't done all the science, but you could figure out the weight of 1 1/4 teaspoons of sugar or of salt, and I'm sure that would be much more accurate than the little measuring cups that they send with the device, but I haven't done the math, and this has worked just fine for me. So I'm gonna keep going with it. Next, we need melted unsalted butter or vegetable oil. I like avocado oil, so I use avocado oil. 2.5 tablespoons. 1, 2, 2,5. There's that. Next is the flour, then the yeast, and we're done. Oh, scales turned off. There we go. They're turned back on. We need 532 grams or 4 cups. So imagine what that looks like in your container. Make sure your container is big enough to hold it. I know that this one is because it's the one I use all the time. $350. We're looking for 532. $450. $535. 533. 5318. That's close enough. Oh, it just bounced up to 532. We're gonna call it close enough. Always make sure you wash your hands, guys. Nobody wants to know where your hands been, and nobody wants your dirty hands in their bread. I promise. Alright. And now, if I remember right, it's 3.5 grams of bread machine yeast. 4.5 grams. Glad I looked. Put that right in there. 4.6. 4.5. That goes in there. Give me just a second. I'll show you how to load this into the bread machine, and then we wait. Alright guys, there's our container with all of our ingredients in it. The paddle is in it. It goes down inside. Push it down just a little bit, doesn't take much, and give it a twist clockwise, and it'll lock into place. Oh, color. I like the light setting. I think it turns out just like sandwich bread. Loaf size, 1.5, that's wrong. 2-pound loaf size, light crust, 3 hours and 17 minutes. Setting 1 is for regular white bread. Now, it's going to make these funky little noises while it does its thing. I'll show you what it looks like in just a little bit. We're on kneading cycle number 2. I'll show you what it looks like. It looks normal, and it smells normal. Once it starts baking, the whole house smells amazing. We're on rise number 2 now. It just got to rise number 2. Make sure you wash your freaking hands, guys. Nobody wants dirty hands in their food. I was a cook for a very long time. And yes, I was very good about keeping my hands clean. So, There we go. That's going to finish rising, and then it's going to bake, and then we get fresh bread. Alright guys, a little over an hour left. It hasn't quite started baking yet, but look at how much it's risen. It was way down there when I took the paddle out. Oh, it smells like rising bread. It'll start baking pretty soon. I forget how long the bake cycle is on this, but... Alright guys, first thing we're going to do is make that shut up. Look at that. I want you to be careful taking it out of there. Just twist a little bit counterclockwise. Oops, sorry. Helps if I get it in the picture. And it'll lift right out of there. I have this bread slicer here. Set it right up there to cool. Leave it for, I don't know, 2-3 minutes. And then I'll flip it over and see if it comes out. If it doesn't come out easy on the first try flipping it over, just let it cool a little bit more and then it should slide right out. But easy as that, we got bread.